we live in an age that's unprecedented in terms of the pace, in terms of how we've been able to create new ways of learning, new ways of working, new ways of digitizing things. Out of all the things over the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, technology has been one of those parts of the pest, political, economic, social, technical, legal, and environmental, that really has driven societal change. The piece we need to do is make sure that we use technology for benefit, not for harm. The joy, though, and the pain of anything on this God's earth is that it can be used for good, or unfortunately, it can be used for bad.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Engatica's interview series. I'm your host Nimalika, and we're really glad to have you join us today. Today we have Kieran Gilmurray, a technology influencer who's helping businesses implement intelligent automation, data analytics, RPA, AI, and more on the show. Welcome, Kieran.
Thank you. Really great to be here.
Thank you so much for being here today. The Engatica interview series is a powerhouse of insights from industry experts and influencers from around the world. A platform that provides the latest news on AI, technologies, and automation that will help you grow your business. Come be a part of our community, learn, share, and grow with us. Kieran, since you do a lot of things in your work and in your company, we are living in the age of intelligent automation. And there is so much buzz that is going on around this. Can you give examples on how intelligent automation affects people, affects normal people in their daily lives?
Yeah, we are living in an amazing age. And I think technology has driven a lot of great benefits. It's not to say it's without risk, but a lot of great benefits. And I don't actually think we are conscious of just how much technology surrounds us. So, for example, today is Black Friday, a annual fest of consumption. And of course, lots of us go on Amazon, and there are other companies involved, but that in itself, it uses a host of intelligent automation technologies to make that possible. So we can go onto that website, we get a set of recommendations that are built based on our past purchase behavior patterns, and patterns that have been analyzed against millions and millions of people across the globe that are similar to us. And that's AI, and that's probably machine learning. And we get recommended things. We can actually order using our voice, because you've got Alexa tied to Amazon as well, which is another form of intelligent automation called NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming, or natural language processing, which interprets our voice and makes judgments and decisions as to what next best actions to perform. Conversational AI, maybe by another name, or conversational business application, where you integrate a voice with AI and machine learning and robotic process automation, all to allow us to purchase a book or a Kindle or whatever it is we've decided to buy today. And then the transactions that happen in behind that are automated, digitized. The factories themselves are computerized and monitorized. The supply chains are built with technology at the core, and you can see them evolving and investing and likely to be put on a blockchain at some period of time. Money's automatically debited from banks. Email and text messages automatically appear. And chances are the book that we're buying has in some way been influenced by an algorithm or AI, or promoted using SEO that is AI infused, or. Technology has enabled us to do amazing things. It is everywhere. It will continue to be everywhere. And I look forward to seeing some of the more amazing things that we can do over the next couple of years that truly are intelligent, digital, and automated, better and more capable ways of allowing us to facilitate business and transactions globally.
Yeah. And the way you started your answer, we are living in an incredible age right now, an era of technology. And today I was just thinking, and I was letting my thoughts run in my head. And I just thought, what if we went 40 years back and showed them a mobile phone, a smartphone to them? How surprised would they be, and how shocked or, pleasantly surprised, basically, would they be that one piece of rectangle is doing so many things together, and everything is there on that palm sized block. Yeah,
I
we
I
are.
think it would be amazing. They probably saw Star Trek at the time. And this is the
Yes.
amazing bit. There was all sorts of communication devices and whatever else that could do all sorts of things as far
Yes.
back as 40 years. What we consider really the technology era, the era of the internet, goes probably to the year 2000 and maybe a little bit before. But as you say, look, computerization's been around for decades. In the 1950s and 60s, there was mainframes, and everybody worried about the influence of technology. And very much it wasn't the excitement around it, it was more the worry about jobs. But what we have seen over the decades is that technology has created more jobs than it's destroyed. It's enabled us to do more things than anything. But the power of a mobile phone that we've currently got today is just extraordinary. Like
Yes.
the Americans launched spaceships in sky and landed on the moon on something that was probably less than a 286 processor. Now you need to look that maybe up on Google to work out that was. But imagine the slowest computer that you can ever imagine. And that controlled human lives and launched spaceships and did whatever. But the progress that we've made in the last 40 years is just the difference between night and day and then some. The progress that we've made in the last 5 years, like now we're talking about Web 3.0, metaverse, immersive reality, haptic technology, NFTs, blockchain, you name it. This is why I'm in the technology business space. So much changes. There's so much transformation happens that it's extraordinary. The crazy bit is, imagine looking back 40 years or now, jump forward 40 years and looking back to today, just when we think we've amazing tech, this will look like what 40 years ago looks like to us. And then because the pace of technology and the pace of business is actually accelerating. And as someone said, it's never been faster, but is never going to be as slow again. So we live in interesting and exciting times, driven a lot by technology.
True, definitely, and it's very fascinating. And with all of this AI in place, people have this little fear that AI might take over a few jobs. But the truth is that AI is creating better jobs or different jobs. So can you throw some light on that?
Yeah, jobs have always changed. Like now we don't have, people delivering the mail via horse, for example.
Yeah.
Now we don't have as many saddlers or artisans in the world. And in 40 years' time, the jobs that we've got will have changed as well, or the tasks will have changed. And technology drives that, and progress, whatever you want to call it, drives those changes as well. The one thing we are noticing now is jobs become more digital. They're also becoming more remote because technology has killed distance, and therefore not only are jobs changing and the makeup of the jobs are changing as well, but the location of roles are changing. And that's one of the more dramatic changes, that people tended to work in factories or nearby wherever their homes were. Now you can be across the globe working 24/7. The interesting bit about this particular technology age, which does create a little bit of nervousness in people, because you see the stats on newspapers and websites and reported by the media, job killers, that makes a more interesting story because it's dramatic, but it's not necessarily true, because you see the growth in jobs that have been created because of technology. And that's important because now we can bring people into the economy, or the global economy, who may not have had the opportunity to do that. And mobile phones in particular, with the growth of 4G, 5G, and soon 6G, will allow anybody, anywhere, and any device to be able to add value, get insight, gain knowledge, or whatever else it is, like they've never been able to do before. But this is going to also create some challenges, because it's not just the lowest, and I use that word not in a mean sense, it's not just the lowest jobs on the spectrum. If we talk about people automating and digitizing, transport, taxis, everybody goes, yes, that's all possible. But AI, and then you look at factories, same thing, but AI and machine learning and artificial intelligence and robotics and technology impacts are felt at every single layer of an organization. You technically cannot be a board member or a C-suite member without being digitally literate. At one stage, it used to be financially literate. Now it's digital. At every managerial level in an organization, you need to bring technology skills to bear to allow you to make better, quicker, faster decisions. So everybody is impacted by technology, and the quicker we gain digital literacy, the better. And that might be to different degrees of understanding for different individuals inside of their business or organization. But I do fear there is something called digital Darwinism, which basically means unless you've got digital skills and you digitize your business and you digitize your role and you learn digital capabilities, then a bit like the dinosaurs, if you don't change, the world will change around you and you'll be left behind.
Correct.
Again, I don't mean that in a threatening sense. I mean that in a practical, advisorial sense. But boy, has the world changed, and will it change even further? Time to gain digital skills or run the risk of your job not actually existing, and therefore the skills that you've learned, they suddenly become less valuable or not valuable. We live in interesting times.
Yes, yes. This is fascinating and incredible too. So that point should be the biggest takeaway of this conversation, or maybe you'll say something better later. But digital literacy, especially in the management and the executive levels of a company, is important. And I think maybe digital literacy should be a part of everybody's lifestyle these days. Because now with Internet of Things and smart devices coming up everywhere, we wear smart wearables, we use a smartphone, we have a smart speaker at home, maybe like Alexa or Google Assistant. People should know maybe the least amount of working knowledge of a device that they're using. Otherwise, it would cause confusion. Do you agree with this or no?
Overall, I do, because technology is playing an increasingly impactful is an impactful item in all our lives. You've just mentioned smart wearables to monitor our health, our heart, our well-being, our diet, to devices that you can monitor your home, smart cameras, whatever, to devices that monitor health and safety or production lines in factories. We're going to have to learn technology to learn how to cope with it and master it, and also get the technology to do the things that we want it to do. We're also going to have to gain an understanding of what I describe as the unethical side of technology, or the perils of technology. Because if I don't understand technology and I make my technology insecure, so for example, if I use no password or a very weak password, or I forget to patch or fix the technology in my home, then I run the risk of not only my home devices failing, I run the risk of someone actually penetrating those devices and maybe taking away bank details or taking away my personal data and then using that for nefarious purposes. Right the way to a factory, I need to make sure that the software that's in my organization works, it's secure, and it's very ethical. So I want to make sure that, for example, if I'm judging people in an interview process, that the HR application or the scoring application, I want to understand how it works, how it was built, and why it was built in that particular way, because I want to make sure that it's secure and human bias has been removed, so I don't result in a very discriminated against workforce, or reinforce othering, or reinforce gender bias, or whatever bias, race, religion, whatever else it is, based on the value set of the people who coded in the first place. So it's not only important to learn it from a practicable, take action, drive forward, get connected, societal, personal, and business view. It's also about understanding it to the extent that you need to make it secure, purposeful, ethical, and valuable at the same time. So for both reasons, you need technology literacy.
Very true. I was going to touch upon ethics in AI and the other domains of automation. Thank you so much for bringing that topic up. And can you tell me a little more about how AI can make mistakes, maybe because of bias in the training or anything else? Like, for example, there is a flight that is taking off, and there is an automated system, automated flying system. And there are examples in the past where that automated system went wrong and people lost lives. So can you elaborate a little bit more about how careful the training and maintenance of AI should be?
Yeah, the more we allow AI into our lives, and earlier on we talked about something simple like selecting a book. Even that, you have to be careful. And if you look at social media, even there you have to be careful. Because
Yes.
remember, the algorithms behind each of those social or commercial products or companies are designed in a way to keep you on their particular sites. And one of the ways they might do that is feed you sensationalist material and then validate your thought processes by providing other individuals who also share those extremist views. And therefore, you assume that everybody in your network is normal, when realistically, when you step back and you look at what they're doing, it's possibly extremist, it's possibly biased, it's possibly unethical. There's lots of those groups online, from people who maybe are encouraged to commit suicide, to people who are encouraged to starve themselves, to people who are encouraged to take radical action of not a particularly nice nature. So we need to be really careful that the algorithms don't encourage or propagate that type of thinking or biased way. You know, in a more fruitful and beneficial way, you start to see AI being used to counter that. So to find extremist views or to find things that should not be online that may influence people negatively, that's AI actually been turned upon what is wrong uses of technology or unethical use of technology to fix it. But if you look at AI built into cars, self-driving cars, that's been proven to fail at times because humans still have skills and faculties, not always, not every driver, that currently outweigh AI technology. But again, the exciting bit is, you know, technology doesn't get tired. We do when we drive. And there's lots of examples, people driving cars and taxis and lorries getting tired and causing damage to themselves or to other people. So if we can get alerting systems built in with AI, all the better. But when you move into organizations, lots of examples have existed in the past where there's been screening mechanisms built by people who I genuinely believe unintentionally have done this, but they've built their own biases into the code because they've trained it on data sets that will probably get them the answer they're creating. Let me give you an example. If I train my HR system to get more software engineers and I build the testing on a population of data that only includes white males of a particular age group, and I describe those as successful, then the AI is going to screen every single candidate that it comes across against those criteria, and it will discount everyone who does not fit that profile. Whereas time and time and time again, research has shown that the more diverse teams actually are the higher performing teams. But again, I go back to, I believe that's non-intentional because I can't imagine why someone would produce a commercial application to do it. The same with airplanes and what's actually now being controlled. 20, 30 years ago, a plane could fly itself. Thank goodness that's not been allowed to happen, but there's so many parts to a plane, a car. It's almost like flying computers, nothing more, nothing less. And those go wrong because technology goes wrong. It fails, it breaks. And therefore we have to make sure that we bring the best of technology to bear in all aspects where it's beneficial for us in a society, and co-join that or augment that with the best human talent and all of the uniqueness and wonderfulnesses of ourselves, and constantly search and govern against bias, negative impact, failure in everything, in every part of what can happen. And a lot of people plan for success. They forget to plan for the failure in projects because they get so excited about the technology. Mine is plan for those successes, plan for everything that can go wrong, set up ethics committees, work out what happens in all sorts of extreme circumstances, because they may happen in the rarest case. The problem is, in the rarest case, people can get hurt, and we do not want that, and life is too valuable. And then build all of your technology over time and constantly test the code, constantly test the ethics of it, roll it out, monitor the progress, make the changes you need to make, and keep driving forward in an ethical, safe, co-joined, augmented way. And we should create a great society that allows us to use technology for great purposes, that is beneficial and protective of us and our society more than anything else. The one thing we can't do is hand over every decision, every thought, and every moment of our lives to what is essentially silicon and algorithms. That's our biggest mistake, having too much faith in technology. That we should not do. We should always maintain a healthy skepticism.
Yeah, you made such wonderful, beautiful points. Thank you so much, Kieran. And before we conclude our conversation today, do you have any other sound bites to share with our audience?
No, I think we live in an age that's unprecedented in terms of the pace, in terms of how we've been able to create new ways of learning, new ways of working, new ways of digitizing things. Out of all the things over the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, technology has been one of those parts of the pest, political, economic, social, technical, legal, and environmental, that really has driven societal change. The piece we need to do is make sure that we use technology for benefit, not for harm. The joy, though, and the pain of anything on this God's earth is that it can be used for good, or unfortunately, it can be used for bad. I don't want to overclaim technology's wonderfulness, nor do I want to claim technology's horribleness. Technology is in our hands. It's probably reflective of what we are like as a population and as a human race. But it does allow us to do great things. Like 30, 40 years ago, you couldn't have scanned for cancer to catch or detect it early to allow us to improve someone's life. You might not have had sensors in equipment that allowed you to maintain production lines for vital equipment or vital foodstuffs going across the world. You might not have self-driving cars or flying drones that allow you to get, maybe a heart or someone in an emergency to a place where they need to be. So push forward with technology as a society, but push forward ethically with an air of caution. Let's make sure we augment great people with great tech, but not hand everything over to the robots and technology at the same time. Otherwise, we run a risk of us being the impacted digital Darwinism dinosaurs this time. And we don't want that.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was such an impactful conversation I had with you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us, Kieran.
Pleasure. And thank you for the opportunity. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Thank you. For more content, subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to get access to exclusive content from thought leaders from around the globe. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you with a new expert soon.